Hello, my name is Costanza Coldagelli. I'm the producer of this project. I already worked with Alessandro Aronadio in his first feature film, Due vite per caso, One Life Maybe Two in English, who premiered in the Berlin Film Festival and was also screened in many other festivals. So this is Alessandro's second feature film as a director and also our second feature together. The film is called Ears, Orecchie, and the first time I read it, I was right away intrigued by this project because I found it very funny, and at the same time I sensed a different layer under the comical situations. I think that our character has issues, universal issues and questions that we can empathize with, and also I recognized many dynamics of our society in it. And from this point of view, this project connects to our roots and history. I'm thinking of Italian comedies of the 60s and the 70s, like Dino Risi, and even more Marco Ferreri. Of course, this film is very different because it's, for many reasons, it's 50 years later. Alessandro has many other international inspirations, but I think that this link is very present in the intention and the kind of film. And this link makes this project for me a big challenge as a producer. We have 2 stars attached in the project. Battistone is an Italian great actor, and Luca Bigazzi, who is the director of photography of The Great Beauty and also Sorrentino's works. Alessandro will tell you a little about the story.
So, Orecchie is a one-day journey from the morning to the evening of a 42-year-old guy who wakes up one morning with a ringing in his ears and 2 nuns knocking at his door. He comes to know during the morning that his supposed friend Luigi has died. The problem is that that day he doesn't remember who Luigi is. So he will keep meeting people that say, oh, have you heard about Luigi, poor Luigi? And he's pretending to say, yeah, I know, but he doesn't remember who he is. He's a part-time substitute teacher of philosophy who has always, for the books that he read, for the study that he did, he always felt superior to the other person. He always think that other persons are more stupid and stuff like that. But now, for this problem, he is forced to meet a lot of persons as a kind of circus of absurd characters that will accompany him during this day. From strange doctors, I mean, there is one that is a kind of silent, bossy doctor who has a bust of Mussolini on his shelf, and that visits him smoking his cigar, to the nuns, of course, and he's a 70-year-old mother who is obsessed with social networks, and for example, a priest, and actually is a cynical alcoholist priest, that says, you know, this thing about the religion, yeah, I know that it doesn't work perfectly. I know that some parts of the Bible doesn't make really sense, but we have to believe in something. We have to understand that. So at the end, during this period, he gets very irritated because all the people that will meet him, he will not believe about this ringing. The doctors say, I'm visiting you, but I can't see anything, so you don't have anything. The mother says, come on, you're always complaining about these things. Nobody hears it, really. Actually, only the priest, because he says, you know, it's my job to believe in something that is not visible, so I have to do that. But from this journey, it's a kind of on-the-road walking on foot day. From this journey, he will understand something. He will understand that, you know, people can be absurd, but you can learn from them. And he actually learns something. He learns that that sense of superiority that he has actually was his way to hide his fear of dealing with the other persons. Probably he feels not comfortable to be part of the group, part of the outside world. And actually, it was not the people that didn't hear him, but it was him that never tried to communicate with them. So this journey will end in a church, and it's the funeral of Luigi, the guy he doesn't know who is. And he gets into the church, and the priest says, oh, yeah, let's make somebody who really know who Luigi was talk about him. And he has to have this funeral oration about somebody he doesn't know who is. And in the church, there are all the people he met in that day. And he starts his speaking. It's a very moving speaking, and people are crying for that because they think that he's talking about Luigi. But we know that he is talking to the coffin, and he is talking about himself. The self that he was before this moment, before this day, and that can't be anymore. From now on, he understood that he has to be part of this absurdity, to embrace part of this craziness, because craziness is the new normality now. And if you want to survive in this world, if you want to be part and alive, you have to accept it. Otherwise, you're going to die alone and forgotten, like Luigi. So at the end of this speech, everybody is moved and crying and are ready to embrace him. And they hug him like, you're one of us now, one of us like freaks, but in a better way. And at the end, the ear problem is still there. He didn't fix it. But that is the sound that makes the struggle between our individuality and our need to save it, and at the same time, the need to be part of the group. That sound is something that we all have, and as he says at the end, well, it doesn't bother me that much. So think about the tone that we, and the inspiration that Costanza was telling you guys, is that, for me it's very important that it is not a surrealistic world, the world of Orecchie. Is a world of absurdity, but really realistic, because it's how we live now. I mean, you should have seen what was going around here this morning. Well, all of us were trying to rehearse our pitch by ourselves, and we were talking like this, like alone. It felt like someone flew over the cuckoo's nest or something like that. It was really creepy, but nice. It looked like a beautiful mental institution. And of course, after I talk about Orecchie with a lot of persons, they say, oh yeah, I lived this situation, and I felt like it was a scene from Orecchie, or I met this doctor, because Orecchie is a word, but it's this word. And well, somebody asked me how this thing started, this project. What was my idea? And actually, I thought about that, and probably this comes from a funeral, a real funeral. I lived once. That was technically the funniest funeral I've ever been in my life. There was this old decrepit priest celebrating it. He could be like 125 years old. And he was forgetting the lines, mixing them, and even making objects falling down. It was a kind of slapstick comedy. The dark side of the thing is that was my mother's funeral. So I had half of my brain saying, oh, this is super funny, you have to laugh. And the other half of the brain saying, this is the saddest day of your life. So I think that sometimes, in films, comedies are funny, dramas are tragic, and that's it. But life sometimes is a much better screenwriter that we can be. And that was the lesson that I learned that day, and that's how Orecchie started.
Great. Thank you. Very nice. Any questions you would like to ask? Alessandro, yes, Violetta.
Congratulations, fantastic pitch. I would like to know if, as a spectators, at any moment, are we going to hear the ring or not?
No, because it is going to be an objective point of view film. So we will never hear the ringing. We have to believe if you want, because he's going like this and talking about it. But actually, just at the end of the movie, when he says, it doesn't bother me that much, we will have the extreme close-up. We have this sound for the first time in the world, and the film, the word, it's too much. And we will see static shots of crowded streets, because, you know, this is the ringing that everybody has, I think.
Great. Thank you, Alessandro.
Thank you.
Thank you.